What is going on, y'all? We are out here bright and early. It is about 10:30 in the morning on a Saturday, and we are here in West Springfield, Massachusetts, checking out the warehouse for y'all. First things first, not loving this parking lot that y'all are dealing with out here. It is tight, and I mean tight. Anywhere like in the vicinity of the front door is gonna be a madhouse. The parking spaces, unfortunately, are single lined. I honestly hate to see that, like shoulder to shoulder congestion at all times. At least give me some more space in the parking lot, but that tells me that this warehouse is probably a little bit older. Something I did like, the gas station looked great, full 18 pumps, easy to get in there. I stopped and filled up there, didn't have to wait long at all. And what I really like is that it dumps you out into the back of the parking lot so you can get a nice quiet space, helps avoid some of that congestion. Pro tip, if you don't mind walking a little bit. But we've also got a tire center here off to my left, gonna check that out. Also see a liquor store. So maybe we're in for some pleasant surprises. West Springfield, Mass, coming at you.
So here's a better look at the gas station. You can see the full 18 pumps, not too crowded at all. I love how there's consistently longer lines for the pumps on the driver's side because somehow it's still a secret that the hoses stretch long enough. But as I was saying, this dumps you out onto the back side of the parking lot, which is great for me. But unfortunately, a lot of people want to park close. So it's another way that people are trying to mush towards the middle of the parking lot and making it even crazier than it has to be, honestly. Here's a look at that packed parking lot. As you can see, anywhere near the front door, you are not getting a spot. Don't even try it. Single line spaces, very undue. Off to the left side, you got the tire center. Got the traditional 4 bays from an older warehouse. I also see the double nitrogen filling station here with a couple reserved parking spots. As I approach the main entrance, I noticed they've only got the traditional sliding doors, none of those big garage bays. That tells me that we could be in for a crowd management issue, but I'll reserve judgment on that. Liquor store's off over to the right-hand side. Okay, coming into my initial approach, right off the bat, one of the first things I notice is the membership desk is at the main entrance. I'm not a fan of it there. The main entrance is already a point of congestion, people looking for their cards, putting them away. I much prefer it off to the side near the exit, but you know, that's just my opinion, man. The rest of the approach, the initial approach, was fine, not too bad. If the initial approach is packed, then you're in for a rough time, but this was okay. As I pass the close, I begin my secondary approach. This is typically the more crowded of the two, and West Springfield was no exception. I'm definitely having to do more work to weave around people here. Now, the West Springfield warehouse, as I suspected, is older, but it was opened in 1990 to be exact, so kind of an OG here. But unfortunately, what that means is there's going to be a lot more congestion. The warehouse is just smaller, so it's going to feel more crowded than it might otherwise be. And once I get into this back right-hand corner here, this is one of the most pivotal areas to evaluate, and there is no refrigerated produce section back here. As you can see, I was not expecting to see it with a warehouse opened in the 90s, but that's going to mean that we're in for some serious crowds and a lot of product overflows. But now that we are on the back wall, it is time for our chicken check-in.
Hey guys, in the back of the store here, over by the rotisserie chicken meat section, definitely some crowds. But honest, I'd say this is very, very average for a weekend. It's, you know, there's a lot of people here, but nothing like that insane. It doesn't feel insane. So it's so far we're looking pretty good here.
So as I continued on the back wall, I did find the produce section, the refrigerated produce section. This warehouse has a lot of produce sections actually. But I did want to continue to the way back to see if there was a refrigerated dairy section. There was not. That's another instance of this warehouse showing its age. Obviously, that's going to mean more crowds in those refrigerated aisles, kind of near the yogurt, that area. Here's me almost getting hit by a cart. One thing I noticed in West Springfield about the crowds, very all or nothing, strikes and gutters. And what that tells me is that the layout is a bit off. A lot of the items that tend to draw people in are kind of in the same spots, so it leads to high traffic areas, and then something that's completely empty. Like a lot of these aisles were completely empty. So that tells me where they got us hunting for that buried treasure, they could change the map up a little bit.
Checking out the far wall here, furthest away from the entrance. Not too bad. This is typically one of the quieter sections, and it's pretty quiet. So the layout of the store is a little tough to follow. It kind of seems like, you know, stuff overflows. For example, there's like a produce area, a whole produce section, but then some extra produce like the bananas, watermelons are just kind of stuck in the middle of the store. So the layout's a little confusing.
So here's another example. On one side of these plants, we have one of the multiple produce sections in the store, pretty shoulder to shoulder over in this area, people looking for bananas and watermelons. And then just if I turn and go the other direction on the other side of these plants, empties out real quick, and hardly anybody in this section here. All right, I'm getting out of this area, and I'm going to begin my initial descent. I always like the initial descent. Feels like after you brave the back of the store, you can take that deep breath again. And as you can see, it's a nice little descent here. Pretty empty, pretty calm. Getting back toward that closed section, I can already see up ahead that it will not be fun getting out of here. But for now, we're in good shape. But first, a word from the Hearing Center and Pharmacy. As usual, not a ton of crowds in these areas. I don't see the eye center, but I have a really bad feeling about where it might be. All right, y'all, checkout here is kind of a nightmare. Again, that older warehouse, there's just not that much space. There's not enough conveyor belts here. People are packed shoulder to shoulder. Self-checkout. Actually, this might be a rare instance where I think self-checkout might be worth it. Y'all know I'm not that much of a fan of self-checkout, but I do see a couple employees with the scanner guns that are allowing people to leave their items in the cart and just hitting them from downtown. So I do like to see that. So maybe you go for self-checkout here. And I know y'all didn't think I was about to gloss over where the eye center is. I mean, luckily nobody's here, but damn. So we got a very standard food court here, nothing fancy. See the chicken Caesar salad. Another thing that jumps out at me is how quick that exit door comes up on you. There is a very abbreviated walk out of here. I mean, you get through that crazy checkout, and it's a short distance to get your receipt check. I'm actually surprised that it's not a nightmare based on what the checkout looked like before. Very few tables at the food court. Don't plan on getting a spot to sit down. But yeah, gonna head out now and let's recap this thing.
All right, y'all, just got back from West Springfield, Mass. Honestly, cannot say I'm a fan of this one. Only thing it really had going for it was a gas station, wasn't too crowded, and it was big, 18 pumps. Other than that, though, the place was tight and crowded the entire time. Starting off with the parking lot, that place was crazy. Single line spaces, I hate seeing that. Warehouse was small, way too much stuff jammed in the middle there, led to like just madness and poor crowd control. People like in all the wrong spots. If the warehouse is small, you've got to make a call on getting some stuff out of there. You can't try to do too much and pop everything into that warehouse. It's not going to go well. Also, I mean, once you finally get to the checkout, that was a nightmare also. Just really not a lot of good things going for it. Which it's really unfortunate because where the warehouse is located, it does serve a really wide geographic region. I mean, if you go into the south into Connecticut, there's a bunch of warehouses, but all other directions, there's not a lot around it. If you head to the east, your next closest warehouse, you're looking at a Boston suburb. I mean, nobody's going to drive all the way in to deal with that traffic. To the north, Burlington, Vermont, that's really far away. To the west, Syracuse, New York, Rochester, not close warehouses. So it's unfortunate that it's going to bring a whole lot of people in, and the warehouse is not built to handle those crowds, plain and simple. But even though the warehouse wasn't great, I did get something really great for my one item in West Springfield, the Kirkland breaded chicken, lightly breaded chicken, the fancy way of saying Kirkland chicken nuggets. These things are awesome. I eat them all the time. If you haven't tried them, definitely check those out. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate it. I will catch you on the next one.
If you guys like this content, please remember to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments, what did you think of the West Springfield warehouse, and is there somewhere that you would like to see me go next?